This wonderful evening.
Fine, thank you.
Good.
Well, thank you. How about yourself?
Doing good. Acclimating back to the cold weather.
Yeah. You know, if you were a teacher, you wouldn't miss this. I mean, you know, we enjoyed the cold. We learned to enjoy the cold weather and the snow and the ice.
Yeah.
Better than the heat.
You're live.
All right. So it is 7 o'clock. It looks like we have everybody on. Councilwoman Lawler, are you? Yep, there you go. All right. So we can go ahead and call this meeting to order. We'll start off with a moment of silence. And if you would all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So it was brought to my attention that when we do roll call this evening, we also have to state whatever address we are at during this meeting. City Clerk Domingo, would you do the roll call, please?
Councilmember Clark,
You're on mute.
310 Austin.
Councilmember Reed,
306 here, 306 West Chestnut, Albion.
Jackson,
1200 Edward Street.
Lawler,
You're on mute. And froze. There you go.
Hello?
Back up. Oh, there you go.
We can hear you. Well, now you're on mute.
918 North Berrien Street, Albion, Michigan.
Lanu,
1102 East Michigan Ave, Albion, Michigan.
Williamson,
Here, 1210 Burn Street.
and Mayor Snyder.
Here, 718 Church Street, Albion. All right, so let's go on. Do I have a motion for the approval of agenda?
So move.
So moved.
Support.
So move.
All right, is there discussion? All right, City Clerk Domingo, if you take roll call on this, please.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler, Councilmember Lawler,
I think she just lost connection, Clerk Domingo.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, so it doesn't look like we have anything under the presentations and recognitions. Nothing under public hearing. So Chief Kip, do we have anybody that would like to make a comment from the public?
I'm not seeing anybody.
Mayor, if I can, I would just like to make a executive to the city manager, Jesse Whitfield, is joined on this call. I don't know if her video is working, but I just wanted to introduce Miss Jessie to council. She has started last week in our office. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology from MSU, as well as a graduate certificate in HR. We are very happy to have her here at the city. It looks like she just lost connection too,
Yeah.
so hopefully she rejoins us.
Yes. Well, when she does, if and when, we are very glad that she's on our team as well. Okay. So we don't have anything for a closed session. Consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the December 21st, 2020 minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this item? Not seeing any. City Clerk Domingo, do you want to take a roll call on this, please?
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler, Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right. Individual discussion. We have a budget amendment request from the Economic Development Fund 244. City Manager Snyder, do we have Amy on to discuss?
Yes, Mr. Prez is with us. Chief, can you please promote Amy to a panelist?
There, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Do you want me to just do a brief overview of this and then answer any questions? Does that sound fine?
Yep.
Okay. So before you, you've got a briefing memo that goes over in a little bit more detail as well as supplemental information. We are asking for a budget amendment to allow the Fund 244 for Economic Development to go into the fund balance to allow for 2 grant programs under the new Albion Small Business Pandemic Response Fund. So those 2 programs is, the first one's a micro grant with a maximum of $10,000 that will be used under that program. And then the pandemic grant, we're asking for a maximum of $20,000. So in total, we're asking for $30,000 to be increased under the line item economic development under the Fund for Economic Development to allow for these 2 programs. If you remember the last time we spoke, you did approve an amendment to the RLF plan that allowed for the 2 loan programs to be executed. So these programs, with this amendment tonight, will be able to go live and start closing on some of these grants. We've had a number of applications sent out, like 7, 8 maybe, and a couple received back that we're currently giving feedback on. So the need is there. I don't want to go over too much detail. I think a lot of it was provided with the information in your packet, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Do we have any questions for Amy at this time?
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Councilman Wilson.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm really excited that the EDC is pulling this together to help local businesses and organizations right now. I know, like many of my colleagues on council, we all work with several different organizations and groups in the community, and we know our small business owners. And it's really nice that locally we're going to be able to provide some relief and support at really the height of what has been a pretty long pandemic response. So thank you to the EDC and all the folks who have worked so hard to prepare this type of shot to the arm for businesses and organizations in our community that we need at a really critical time.
I'm just gonna say, thank you for sending that, the last part of the addition, the update, to see all the additional things that you did add on to this from the last time we spoke. So thank you so much.
So Amy, in the paperwork, it says that the application is open now. Do we have a deadline? Like, do we have a cutoff date? Like, after this point, you can no longer apply for the grant or the loan?
No, so often the other forms of assistance that were out there were exhausted the first day that the applications opened up. This fund is really designed for those businesses that were not able to get assistance through those other forms.
Okay.
Not that they'd be prohibited, but it's really for the smaller businesses that aren't competitive there. So definitely first come, first served as far as the money is available. But because we've got the 4 programs, and even the 2 loan programs are extremely competitive, I doubt that we're going to turn someone away that we don't have the need, because we still have an available balance in the revolving loan fund, that if we can't do it under one of these 4 grants, we can figure a way under that. So there's not a deadline. Sooner the better if they want to get in line for those grants. But we're going to work with each company as they come in to make sure they've got, a full and complete application for us to review.
Awesome. Okay, that is good news.
Ms. Mayor,
Yes.
I'm sorry, as a matter of procedure, if this is on for approval tonight, there should be a motion and a second.
Yeah. So do we have a motion to approve the amended?
So moved.
Support.
Any other discussion? Awesome. City Clerk Domingo, do you want to take roll call on this, please?
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Thank you, Amy, for that. Discussion of special election for renewal of recreation millage. Haley, are you gonna give us
Yes.
information on this?
I just wanted to bring this to council's attention, that we received notification from the county in regard to the 2021 election dates. For the city, we just have the recreation millage is up for a renewal this year. So I would just wanted to let you know that we will be bringing forward a resolution to submit a proposal by the February 9th deadline for the May 4th election for a renewal of the current recreation millage.
Do I have a motion to support?
No, at this time, it's just discussion.
Oh,
The
discussion,
formal
okay.
resolution will come at the next meeting for approval.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we have any questions for City Manager Snyder about the millage? Councilwoman Reed?
I'm just wondering now, there was 2 things discussed when we were talking about that. And one was, okay, the why, and the other was the why interacting with the college. Did we ever make a decision on whether it was going to go that way or what?
Yes, we've council voted to move forward with entering into an agreement with the Battle Creek YMCA to provide all recreation activities. Now that it's into the new year, I will be setting up a time with Jill Hine, director of the YMCA, to kind of discuss next steps. A formal agreement will come before council for approval. We will be creating the task advisory or task force with the Y to receive the community input on the programs and whatnot we would like to roll out for this upcoming year.
Any other questions for City Manager Snyder on this? All right, thank you for that information. Discussion on the Byron Township zoning ordinance. Cullen, were you going to touch upon this?
Yes. So just by way of background for the council, there was litigation between a private individual and Byron Township that's over in Kent County that actually went all the way up to the Michigan Supreme Court, and they issued a unanimous decision earlier this year in Byron Township's favor. Basically, what the Byron Township zoning ordinance does is, if you recall, in 2008, the state of Michigan first, through an initiated law, allowed for medical marijuana, and then fast forward to, I believe it was 2016, they finally put in place the Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act that basically regulates commercial facilities. So the problem that has come up across the state is individuals or small groups of individuals are attempting to circumvent the Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act and are basically putting together these, I guess what I'll just refer to as smaller grows in an attempt to basically commercialize the activity under the 2008 law, which is obviously not what was intended. And so what the Byron Township case basically said is, it said that local municipalities have the ability to regulate caregivers as a home-based occupation. Obviously, the intention of the law was, if people want to be a medical marijuana caregiver and have their 5 patients as allowed by the law, that's fine. You can grow it in your basement. The idea was not to allow them to have a second home that is attic to basement filled with marijuana, which is effectively a commercial operation. So I have, and certainly Albion would not be the first municipality to adopt a similar ordinance. Multiple municipalities across the state are starting to go this direction to keep the caregiver grows and keep the commercialized grows regulated as they should be by the state and the local municipalities. So I'm in the process of putting together an ordinance that basically mirrors the Byron Township ordinance as it relates to the caregiver home occupations. I just wanted to get council's input in terms of desire to proceed with this before I get too far into it. This is something that would have to go before the Planning Commission because it is a modification to the zoning ordinance. There'd be a public hearing in that regard, and then it would come to council for approval. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the council might have.
Do we have any questions from the council for Attorney Harkness?
So Colin, is this like if you were taking care of someone who had a need for medical marijuana and you could grow it for them? Is that what this is saying?
Yeah, so what the 2008 law allows is, if someone is a registered caregiver with the state, they can grow up to 72 plants in their home, 12 for themselves and 60 for each of their patients. The idea behind this ordinance is to preclude, these clever individuals from hey, here's, I'm a caregiver and I've got my 5 patients. Here are 2 people, and I'm going to allow them to grow in my house, their 72 plants and another 72 plants. It's the idea behind the ordinance is to prevent the commercialization of grows that are supposed to be under the 2008 law as opposed to the 2016 law. It prevents these individuals from skirting around the state and local regulations for commercial facilities.
Any other questions for Attorney Harkness? Okay.
So I just assume then that the council's okay with putting together an ordinance. I don't see any objections, so I'm just gonna assume that. All right.
Awesome. Okay. Discussion on the precinct survey. So at the last meeting, we discussed each of the council members to kind of go around their precincts to figure out some areas that need attention. I know with the holidays, things got pretty busy, but I just kind of wanted to touch base. This is one of those items that I don't want to see slip through the cracks because, more than one council person has said this is a priority for them in working with their individual precincts. So I just wanted to get a gauge if anybody has come up with areas of concern, if there's anything that folks want to share. I haven't received any emails from anybody specifically about this. So I just kind of want to touch base and see where we were. Councilman Williamson.
So I took this pretty seriously, and I went around at least precinct 6 to kind of take a look at a few things. There are a couple what I would consider problem spots, but I think the city has already identified. Haven Road is in bad shape, but more importantly, the bridge going to Haven, on Haven Road there over Victory Park. That's in serious condition. I think that's been identified as a fixer in the next year or two, I believe. Also of concern is Lyndon Avenue. There's a couple different concerns. The road is just terrible, but then also it looks as if the wall is falling into the river. So I do know that the city has also identified that as a area of interest or concern. And then also, the largest park in Albion, Victory Park, the ice arena is in terrible shape as far as the roof goes. There are a couple of missing slides from the play structure in Victory Park. The pavement and cracking at the tennis courts and basketball courts are in bad shape. Now, I'll preface this by saying that they're in bad shape probably all over the city. But if we were being very precinct specific, I made sure to go through and try to find the ones that were in my area. So those are probably the most problematic parts. And just like every other precinct, we have some terrible streets outside of that with not a lot of residents on them. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to get too specific on that. I think we all know that streets need to be repaired, but that we're not gonna be able to do that by ourselves. So that's what I got for 6.
So when you talked about the ice rink, is that the skating pond, the lodge next to the pond, or the actual pavilion that was built not too long ago?
The pavilion. So the pavilion roof is in need of drastic repairs. Pretty bad. And then just to kind of keep on, I think Councilwoman Clark will love to hear this. Some of our city buildings, like our building in Victory Park, had like a hole in the roof. And it's where we keep our equipment and stuff like that. And I think it's important that we try to keep that up as much as possible. I know that it's hard when we're prioritizing what's important, the roof over our tractors or the roof over people's heads at a certain building. But I did want to mention that, as we start to ramp up code enforcement, since it was recently moved to public safety, and we want to have an emphasis on that, that could be one of the ways that we improve ourselves too.
So I know that there has been work on that roof. City Manager Snyder, do you kind of know the status of that?
Yes, and we put in the budget to have both the park building, to have that roof repaired, as well as the cemetery facility.
Awesome.
All right, thank you for that, Councilman Williamson. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
Yes, what I seen was Barnes Park. I don't know if the state has anything to do with that, but that barn, the dock is like literally in the water, and there's nothing around it for any safety of precaution, not to even go over there or go near to it. I believe that's a safety concern. And then on the end of Crandall Street, close to Dalrymple, there's a big spot that has been taken out of the street. And that's a big hole that should be taken care of. Hopefully we can get that taken care of. Then also going down North Eaton, not too long, they've done some work right there next to Oak Street, and both on the side right next to the house and right next to Oak Street, there's another big spot, and that right there doesn't have much dirt in it. So when we go around, we have to literally go around it. You can't even go over it. The tires might just fall into that. So, and then as Shane was talking about, I'm quite sure you all know about Lincoln Street. So, and there are houses and children on that street though, on the corner of Lincoln and Eaton Street.
And those roads out there are bad.
Thank you for that, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson. Any other notes?
I'm
Yeah.
not quite through mine yet, Mayor. I've got quite a bit of it done, but I ran into some problems over the holidays and I didn't get it all finished. So if I could report on mine at next meeting, I would appreciate that.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Lanu, you had your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I was able to review the precinct in terms of areas needing a cleanup. And I noticed next to Family Fair on the side going toward Watson Street, there's quite a bit of a need for cleanup. And I noticed that regularly. And then along Watson Street, it wasn't bad at all, but just that whole little area could use, a quick cleanup. And then that was really the biggest thing that I saw in terms of cleanup. But for road repairs, I will look forward to seeing the list that I was told is being compiled in terms of the prioritization of streets. I know between College Court and Sydenham, it's actually a downhill that's like become a dirt road. It's really bad. So that's what I would report from the 5th precinct.
Okay. Thank you for that. Yes, Councilwoman Clark.
Hi, thank you, Mayor. There's only one area because the major streets that need to be taken care of will be taken care of this year in my area. So I'm happy about that. But on Mallory Street, I think that's the name of the street, the street that goes directly into the Malibu Park, and it turns when you go down farther, it's Cooper Street. The lighting on that street is really bad. There's like little to none. And I've been there in the night before. So if you just happen to have on dark clothing and go into your car, and your car is not white like mine, but you could easily not be seen because the lighting is really, really bad on that street. It's almost as if they're the old lighting. And I don't know if that has something to do with it. Why it doesn't show as bright, but it's literally dark.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the lighting on Mallory Street?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Councilwoman Lawler?
I'm gonna try to get mine in really quick before I get disconnected. I just had a couple things that I saw in my precinct. First of all was, like I said previously, a couple sidewalks and the curb, the sidewalks on, what is this? It's 905 North Hall Street in front of there, and a sidewalk on Pine Street is between 303 Pine and Monroe and Pine. So it's like on a corner. Right here on Berrien Street, there is like no lighting in one block from High Street to North Street. We do have like 8 little bitty children running around here, and we do have at least 8 elderly in this little block. So I remember seeing something about having consumers come out and replace them. And so I'm just wondering, is it the city's job or is it my job to say, hey, can we get some more lighting? Division Street, which our previous mayor slash council member of 4th Precinct, Mayor Wheaton, used to reside. I think his wife still stay there. That street is horrible. And I'd like to at least try to do something with it. Like I said, I don't know how the order of getting streets done is done, or who would next to get streets done. But as far as Norwood and Division Streets, that is something on my list. But like I said, I did want to find out, is it my responsibility or is it someone else's responsibility to ask about lighting from consumers? Because I did see somewhere where somebody had some street lights replaced. I think an email was sent out.
Yep, I have noted, and I will bring this to Director Miller's attention and see that he reaches out to our consumers rep.
Okay, great. And I think I'm just about done for right now. I'm sure.
So what I'll do after I get information from Councilwoman Reed, I will compile a list. That way, like I said, we can kind of look at these areas and then kind of prioritize what may need the most attention and kind of go from there. And then just as we can work through this, hopefully, whether it's not, we work with our own city streets department, public works, like maybe doing sidewalk stuff, but we can definitely start addressing these issues. So I do appreciate everybody's feedback on this because, you know, this is like one of those things that we do not want to have fall behind, and hopefully just start working on as soon as we can. All right. Thank you for that. Okay. Future agenda items. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
Yes, I'd like to still put Barnes Park on that for the future items. And then also, I think everyone is an agreeable of a citywide cleanup.
And I can actually provide an update. Director Miller is in touch, is working with Granger to determine that date. So I will hopefully have a date to provide to council at the next meeting.
Thank you. Did I see another hand up? Yes, Councilwoman Lanu.
Thank you, Mayor. I did want to acknowledge when I mentioned that the prioritization of streets is happening, that I do know there's many streets within my precinct, including Booth and Baroque, that also need attention. So I'll look forward to how we're communicating that. I just wanted to circle back to that. I do have a future agenda item as well. Sure. For the upcoming council meeting on January 19th. I spoke following up from Council Member Reed's emphasis on getting to know each other's goals. I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page for having a study session prior to the January 19th meeting to review the city's current goals and allow some extra time for us to plan how we're going to work in alignment toward those. And so with the support of Councilmember Reed, I'm pretty sure that everything is okay, but I just wanted to make sure the whole council knew that that would be coming before the next council meeting on January 19th at 6 p.m. And then I also had one other question regarding the Racial Equity Task Force. And if we could have an update on where that has left off, or where the next action items are going to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Clark?
Yes. We all know that John Tracy will be retiring on the 29th. And we had a committee that we were meeting for two purposes. One was to gather some information about the housing in Albion as far as the percentages and where we were and how many landlords we had and everything like that. I would like to have him do an update. I'm thinking that our next meeting is on what date?
Tuesday, the 19th.
Okay, so that'll be plenty of time. And I also would like to address something that has been kind of pushed to the side because we were waiting, me and Shane, Councilman Williamson was waiting for this information before we move forward with the landlord certification. So we would like to have him come and update us with what the current housing looks like, abandoned buildings, where we're at with that, and how many landlords and homeowners we actually have in this area. Another thing, one other thing. I had requested that the land bank come to give us an update at the meeting before, and they weren't able to come to the last council meeting, and I didn't see anything on this one either.
They're not available until the next council meeting. I sent out an email updating council, letting them know that the land bank, they will be presenting at the January 19th meeting, as well as our Calhoun County Treasurer. So
Okay.
yes, they will be attending next meeting.
Thank you.
Any other agenda items to add? All right, looks like we're good there. Public comments. Chief Kip, I see we have Gary Tompkins on. Is he?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. Well, hey, Madam Mayor, council members, everyone in attendance viewing, good evening. Gary Tompkins, your Calhoun County Commissioner. First of all, Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Hopefully 2021 is off to a great start. I'll be very brief this evening. Real quickly, the Board of Commissioners, we will be having our reorganizational session this Thursday, January 7th, as well as we anticipate we'll be approving our 2021 meeting schedule, which will be, as usual, the first and third Thursdays of each month at 7 p.m., with the exception of April, which is only one meeting, which is Tuesday, the second Tuesday for equalization. And in July, we just have one meeting, which is the third Thursday. Just recently, some good news, a new Senior Millage Allocation Committee subcommittee involving social isolation among seniors was just recently approved and created. This subcommittee will review how senior millage can use its resources to address this issue, especially during the COVID situation that we've all been in for ever since March of 2020. We've had our first meeting, several ideas were discussed, and the goal is to provide a plan back to the full committee by 2021 going forward by March, which is really nice. Tom Hunsdorfer, many of you know Tom from Albion, as well as Yvonne Chapman from the Athens area are the co-chairing the committee. I'm honored to serve on it as well, but it brings a nice balance between the East and West so that we really can address senior isolation issues across the board throughout the county. As you know, many of you know, the seniors, many of our seniors don't have internet connection, don't even, may not have relatives in the area, and many of them are have been sheltered in place essentially since March with the closing of the Fork Senior Center. And we really feel that this item or this issue has really risen to the top and we need to address it. So we've decided to do so. So stay tuned for more details on that. Today, the Calhoun County Health Department announced that their COVID vaccine web pages are up and running, where you can find lots of information, Q&As, and other resources and what's going on within the county relative to the COVID vaccine. You can go to calhouncountym.gov under departments and the public health department, and you'll be able to find a plethora of resources, plus knowing what's going on within the county as it relates to COVID vaccines. Most of you do get my monthly newsletter. If you don't, if you'd like to subscribe, certainly get in contact with me. It's totally free. You get it's a discreet email correspondence. In the newsletter this month, I would like to point out on page 4, I highlight some details surrounding a recent vote at the county commission level involving contract pothole patchers. Now, you folks obviously may not necessarily be involved in that, but I find it interesting because as part of that process, it really gives a glimpse into how things go and how the progression, how we work through our progression as we go to take our vote. And in addition to the fact is many of our votes are not based on emotions, but based on data and facts. But you may very well find this to be an interesting look. So if you get a chance, take a look at that. And then also on page 5 and 6, I provide details on the 2021 Calhoun County budget in terms of our revenues and expenditures, including some of the county's other large funds that we oversee. The millage rates for 2021 at the county will remain unchanged with the exception of the new 0.2 mills that was recently approved in August 2020 for parks, which will certainly help folks in the city of Albion as well. So just a quick top of some subjects that were going on early in the year, and certainly looking forward at some point when we get back together on a more face-to-face basis and get to look forward to working with each and every one of you going forward. So unless anybody has any questions for me, again, Happy New Year, and look forward to seeing you in 2021. Thank you very much.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Tompkins?
Yes.
Councilman Clark does have a question.
Oh, okay, yes.
Hi, Gary.
Hi there.
We had talked about some of the concerns with the court hearings, and you said you were going to look into that for me. When you get
As a matter of fact, yeah, I'm just gonna say, as a matter of fact, I'll have a definitive answer for you tomorrow. I've been after the people I needed to get the answer from, and I will say over the holidays, it has been a challenge. So you'll be getting a definitive tomorrow on that. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Absolutely.
Yes, Councilman Williamson.
Commissioner Tompkins, can you shed some light on who has been vaccinated already? Like I think the health department's been vaccinated. Where's the strongest rollout right now of the vaccination in Calhoun County?
That is an excellent question, Councilor Williamson. I will get that information out to each and every one of you tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I'll make sure you get that verified. I don't have the exact figures. I was going through the pages today as they were released from the Calhoun County Health Department, so I've had a chance to look exactly at all of them. But yes, I will follow up and I'll distribute that information to you folks. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Well, Commissioner Tompkins, we thank you for the update and for being a part of our meeting this evening.
Thank you. I much appreciate it. Have a great evening.
You too. And it looks like we have Representative Hadsma on.
Good evening, Mayor Snyder. It's my pleasure to have heard all the discussion, especially about what needs are most priority in the eyes of the different council people in the different precincts. And I do have a question, I believe, for Mayor Pro Tem Jackson. I think it was she who talked about Barnes Park and a dock. I'm assuming that's a dock out in the Kalamazoo River. Am I accurate?
Yes.
And I will check and see if the state does have any jurisdiction or relationship to that dock. And I heard the rest of this, and I take a lot of notes, so I won't tell you what I apprehended, but I'll do the best I can to prioritize Albion in relation to the various issues you have in your precinct, especially Councilor Reed, the bridge on Albion Street.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Representative Hadsma?
Just like to say, we took him down under that bridge, so he knows what it looks like. And thank you, Jim, for helping on that. And he, Dr. Buys on all of them. We hauled them down under the water.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Representative Hadsma, for being with us this evening for that update as well. Chief Kip, do we have anybody else?
No.
Okay. So we're on to our city manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a few things to update council on. Just again, I wanted to remind everyone of City Hall operations. The front lobby is open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you need to handle any other business with any other department or an appointment is required ahead of time. MML trainings, I've reached out to the Michigan Municipal League to schedule the following trainings for council. Essentials of local government, that will include the overview of basic local government roles and responsibilities and the Open Meetings Act, as well as parliamentary procedures. Once I receive information back from the MML, I will send that out and determine some dates that we can host these trainings. And then I just wanted to bring this to council's attention. City administration is in the process of submitting a pre-proposal grant application to the DNR Fisheries Habitat Grant Program to seek funds for an Albion Dam's removal and or restoration feasibility study. As we all are aware, the dams within our parks are in severe shape. So we need to it's come to a point where we need to either invest to restore and repair the seawalls and the dams within the parks, or we need to look at what it would look like if we remove those from our community. So we will be submitting a pre-proposal. It is due on January 8th. And that is all that I have.
All right, do we have any questions for, yes, Councilwoman Clark?
I did meet our assistant, executive assistant today because I was in office, and I was happy to meet her. And just a quick question, does that mean that we're, as far as staffing, are we where we should be, or is there still job openings, or?
Currently, the current position that we have open is the Director of Planning and Building. So that is currently in our Deputy Clerk Treasurer position. That are the two positions that we have vacant at this time.
And what about for John's? Is that John's position?
Yes.
Okay.
We have held interviews, and we are still in the process of finding a candidate to replace John.
Okay, thank you.
So it does look like that Jesse did pop on. Jesse, do you want to say hello? And you're on mute.
You're stuck on mute.
Nope. Looks like she's trying to figure this out. Well, Jesse, we welcome you to our team. We're glad to have you on board, and we're glad to see your smiling face in City Hall. And hopefully we'll be able to get you unmute for the next time. All right, so any other questions for City Manager Snyder and her report?
In addition to, I just want to provide an additional update to the Director of Planning, as well as the Deputy Clerk Treasurer. We also do have 2 public safety positions open, and we are in the process of getting those filled as well.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, any other questions? Looks like we're good. Do we have any other council member comments at this time? Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
Yes, I just would like to encourage my fellow colleagues that it would be good if we could get on the line for the the MPS, which is the Marshall Public School, the bond. The first meeting out of the 4 would be this Saturday. I do not know what time it is, but there's many things that are going on, and we should know about it so that we can go back and tell our people what are going on. So they have many different debates. They have things that they want to get rid of. They want things they want to bring aboard. But I do believe we should be a part of that, knowing of what's going on, and also have a voice at the same time.
Yeah, that would be good if, and I know, we're pretty stretched thin with all the meetings that we are expected to attend, but if we do have any time, if I come across the dates and times, because like Mayor Pro Tem Jackson said, they do have a couple of different meetings slated. So if I'm able to come across those days and time, I will definitely pass that on to everybody else. Yes, Councilwoman Lanu.
I really appreciate you bringing that up. I do have the dates and times. They haven't provided the actual Zoom information, but I know this Saturday it's at 11 a.m. And if you're, curious about bringing yourself up to speed before the meeting, which is for public input, the Marshall Public Schools YouTube channel has several pretty, in-depth videos to share After this Saturday, I know there's a board meeting on the 13th. I thought I put these all on my calendar, but this Saturday is at 11 a.m.
Yeah, so if you do come across that full list, and if you want to forward that on to us, you know, we would greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
Any other council comments? Yes, Linda, go ahead and finish, and then I'll go on to Councilwoman Lawler.
I just wanted to welcome Jesse to the City Hall. I really appreciate all the work that you're going to help with. It's very important. And then I just wanted to thank Interim Manager Snyder for the MML training, letting us know about that being on the horizon.
Councilwoman Lawler?
Yes, thank you, Miss Mayor. Does Jesse have a last name, and where does Jesse come from?
If Jessie could get her computer unmuted.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess I should have thought about that, but
Yeah.
She does have a last name. Her name is Jessie Whitfield. She does live here locally in Albion. She is originally from Canada. So we are happy to have Miss Jessie join us.
okay, I know Miss Jessie. Hey, Miss Jessie. Yeah.
Any other council comments? Looks like that's a no. All right, so we don't have any absent members, so we don't need that. City Clerk Domingo, do you want to do the final roll call?
Can I get a move and a support to adjourn the meeting?
So I had.
Support.
Awesome. And the roll call, please.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, everybody. It was a good meeting, productive, and hopefully you all have a good night, rest up, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Take care.
Nice weekend.
Good night.